across you.
What is it, Mrs. Brown? Now.
Before Lucy Turgillis talked... Before Lucy... Has she talked to you already?
About what?
I mean, Lucy is on the Home and School Association.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean she is the whole Home and School Association. There are other members of the Home and School Association. Just because she thinks she is the whole Home and School, that simply does not make her the whole Home and School, even though she acts as though she were the whole Home and School. Ah. Oh. Yes! It is simply not a matter of concern, a responsibility of the school board, the teacher. These are our children, too. Don't you agree?
I might if I knew what you were driving at.
Just the corruption of our children.
You overheard coarse language on the school grounds again.
No. They're classrooms.
Oh, and Lucy Turgillis is in favor of it.
No, but she certainly is not objective about it when Charlie Turgillis is principal. Conflict.
Between you and Lucy.
Of interest.
So, Charlie Turgillis has been using coarse language in the class?
No.
The children have been using coarse.
No.
Who has?
William Shakespeare, for one, and somebody named Chaucer. No, he's not quite so bad because it's sort of a dialect, which makes it harder to understand.
But these are classical literature pieces.
You have talked with Lucy Turgillis.
No, but I have read William Shakespeare and Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. These writers are...
Simply filthy.
Earthy. A little body now and again, yes. Filthy, no.
Yes. The home and school think they should be removed from the classroom. There. Most of the home and school do.
And what would the home and school suggest in their place?
Nellie McClung. Her Sowing Seeds and Danny is a beautiful book. And, of course, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Uncle Tom's Cabin is obscene.
Black Beauty.
Come on, Mrs. Brown. Black Beauty is the most self-centered, self-pitying whiner. Very few horses read her anymore. What is?
Harness racing. It's taken over the whole town, you know. The male portion. They gamble. You know. Fast horses? Loose women?
Oh, well, I certainly disapprove of gambling, especially on loose women.
And curling!
Gambling on curling?
No. Sabbath curling!
Oh, I am with you on that, Mrs. Brown. We are going to fight for that bylaw. No curling on the Sabbath, and we are going to win that.
Day, Mrs. Brown, Mr. Pringle. Nice, crisp day.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Well, you're not going to catch my Charlie curling on Sunday. Who's that?
Stranger to me.
Addresses you by name and me. I don't know him. Very well dressed. Must be a traveling man. Probably from Calgary. So, Mr. Pringle, we can count on your support getting Shakespeare and Chaucer out of our schools?
No, you can't, Mrs. Brown. But I am behind you on Sunday curling. Strongly.
And Dr. Langley's car.
Yes.
Buick sedan license number FUA 4116 with the M after that
So
doctor.
I'm sure that...
Last 2 nights has been parked in front of Maine Harris's house, and that's 2
Mrs.
nights
Brown.
that I know of.
Mrs. Brown. Being a minister, I can't afford a car, but if I could, you would have known its make and license number, and you would have seen it there too. The last 5 days. Dr. Langley and I both visit the sick. One of Mame Harris's nieces is very ill, but ruptured appendix. It's been touch and go.
Niece? No woman boards 7 nieces. Touch and go, I'll bet.
My curling boots. I'd like a resole job done on them.
When would you want them done?
My next trip through, 2 weeks.
Hey, Colonel, at the Glencoe, Calgary.
No. When could I have them in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I'm behind in my own repairs. They're nice boots, though. I'm afraid you'll have to resort to buckled over shoes for, say, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, then.
Aye, best I can do. You're not from around here, then?
No.
I've seen your face before, though.
Quite likely.
Foothills Bonspiel. Little Britches Bolshoe Rodeo and Craft Fair.
I'm a traveler.
Yeah. Fooled me, put me more in mind of a professional man, more like university professor.
Very perceptive. I do a lot of business in academe.
I've no heard of that town. No, politician.
I spend a lot of time in Ottawa, Edmonton. 3 weeks then?
Aye.
I had detailed work planned for here in 2 weeks. But I could move it ahead 1 week, then move right on through and down to Lethbridge. Lethbridge is always rich and rewarding territory.
Encyclopedia sets. I've got it. Bible salesman.
You really hogged that block, Wullie. My car.
Warm. Warmer than if he'd just taken it off. He's carried it from outside. It's 20 below. Mr. O'Clutie, wholesale souls, retail sins, Sulphur Boulevard, hell. Ah well, boots about for all that. Sulphur Boulevard. Hell!
Always the warm greeting, Mr. MacCrimmon.
No offense intended, Reverend. You may help yourself to a cup of coffee.
No, thanks. Are you busy?
Some. You're not the first.
First?
Visitor. I just had your opposition in just now.
Was Father O'Halloran in to visit?
No. What had you in mind, Mr. Pringle?
Oh, a moment. Just a moment of your time. Call them Mr. Clayton, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Bawley.
All members of your congregation?
Yes, yes, they are. Mr. MacCrimmon, I know you're not a member of Grace Unite of our church.
That's right.
Still, I'm calling on you, as I did the others, in regard to the new church.
Right.
We hope to break ground on it early this spring.
Do you?
When we've managed the necessary funds. When we've managed the necessary funds. So far, things have gone very well, almost better than expected, and I see one of my fondest dreams very near to coming true, one of the things I've directed all my energies towards since coming to Wildrose.
That prohibition?
Yes. In the matter of temperance, I've taken a firm stand.
Well, the prohibition of Sabbath cuddling.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I've always felt that one day should be set aside for the spirit.
You could say cuddling was as much for the spirit as for the flesh.
Well, for contemplation, one day out of 7 for I suppose we do not see eye to eye on that, Mr. MacCrimmon.
No, we do not.
But you must admit that we will probably get the approval of a majority of the townspeople more against Sunday curling than for.
That is because more do not curdle than do, or have wives that do not. Now, there is not one curdler that will vote for your bylaw prohibiting Sabbath curdling.
It's for their own good, Mr. MacCrimmon, for their own good.
You can.
Can't what?
Yeah, you can't decide for others what's for their own good. It's a judgment that they must acquire for themselves.
Now, it often helps to have a little outside influence now and again. No harm in stiffening the moral fiber
If it needs outside stiffening, it is then a false morality. You can patch up the outside from now till the resurrection, and you would still have a poor thing, Mr. Pringle. Mr. Pringle, have you tried to work from the inside out?
Do that? You do that too?
Do you now?
Now, I know you're not a member of our congregation, but I would like to put your name down.
Mr. Pringle.
Yes?
You know I was born Presbyterian.
Yes.
As you were.
Well, I was born...
With this difference, I still am Presbyterian. Continuing Presbyterian.
Yes, but we welcome anyone. I mean, you're welcome to come and worship with us in Grace United.
No thanks. Now, when it was Grace Presbyterian, that was another thing. But now that it's turned Methodist...
Not Methodist. It isn't Methodist, Mr. MacCrimmon. United.
I was not born, nor was I brought up Methodist, and I do not intend to live Methodist.
Just a minute. You've started out with the wrong assumption again.
I have been given the choice of your Methodist church. All right. Of your United church. Baptist, Seventh-day Advent, Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, Father O'Halloran, St. Teresa, and the meetings of the Bowden Church of Nazareth over to the Oddfellows Hall. Now, I have visited them all since
the Union.
Since the loss of my own church. Now, I long ago decided to remain what I am, continuing Presbyterian with the creed of my father. For what was a good foundation for my father is a good foundation for me.
But your father lived in a different world. Your father believed in many things you don't believe in.
No. My faith and my convictions are the same as my father's. The same as the day I sat beside him in church, hearing the minister's voice, soaring and dipping grand as he painted for his congregation the hell that awaited all sinners.
We believe in a religion of love today, Mr. MacCrimmon.
Of love. And no hell.
Well...
And no devil.
Symbolically speaking...
I mean actually speaking. Hell and the devil. Now there's the foundation for a religion. The skeletal requirements, you might say. Mr. Pringle, well, when you begin to preach sermons with some bones in them, and when you can show me something besides the wishy-washy symbolic hells and symbolic devils, Then Wullie MacCrimmon will be right alongside the other members of your congregation, taking communion with in your new Methodist church.
But it's not Methodist, it's United. All right, Mr. MacCrimmon, I won't bother to put your name down.
Wait a minute now. Don't be hasty. Half a loaf is better than none. I don't mind.
Half a loaf?
How much had you in mind putting me down for?
$20?
$20. I see. Well, church is a church, Methodist or not.
But it's not Methodist, it's
$20. An indirect blow?
indirect blow.
Mr. Pringle, sit down. Will you tell me one thing?
Yes?
Do you or do you not believe in a devil?
Well, I do believe there is a force for evil abroad in the world.
That does not answer my question. Do you believe in a personal devil?
Well, no.
Do you believe in hell? Do you believe in hell?
I believe we make a hell for ourselves.
But do you believe in a three-dimensional, crackling, actually burning hell to which we may or may not go when our time comes? Where we may roast in blazing fire from everlasting to everlasting, do you? Shrieking and writhing in exquisite pain and torment beyond all human comprehension? While the Lord, in his infinite compassion and mercy, looks down from the dew-washed heights of heaven above.
No, Mr. MacCrimmon, no, I do not.
What would you say, Mr. Pringle? One night you sat in your study, King James Version of the Bible in one hand, thumb and finger in the concordance, and there came a ring at your bell. What would you think if you went to it and you found there a dark gentleman with black brows that turned up at their outer corners? If you saw that he had hooves,
Oh, come now, Mr.
and he announced himself as the devil, come to have a wee talk with you between the routine calls in the town of Wild Rose, Alberta,
Say I was having hallucinations.
then you would be wrong. Now, there is where Father O'Halloran and I come a little closer to understanding each other. I remember him explaining to me about a year back the meaning of Black Mass.
Black Mass.
You've heard of it.
Well, I believe in backward countries, ignorant and superstitious
A
people.
ceremony devoted to the worship of the devil. Everything backwards. Robes worn backwards. Crucifix upside down. Prayers backwards. Black Mass.
Superstition.
That is an old superstition then.
Well, it's still a
As old
superstition.
as time, as old as the flesh, as old as Adam. And you think you would be having hallucinations if you saw old Clutie?
Yes, I certainly would.
Then you would be wrong. I know. He called on me today. What? Here in the shop. Brought me in a pair of his curling boots for me to mend.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. They lie over there on top of the shoes to be repaired.
A devil bringing in curling boots.
It's unusual. Most cuddlers just wear overshoes. You don't see many custom-made cuddling boots.
Nor devils who curl. What would bring him here?
He tells me he's a regular visitor to Wild Rose. He'll be back in 3 weeks' time.
Mr. MacCrimmon, I knew you were a stubborn man. I knew you were superstitious in old-fashioned in your beliefs, but I never for a moment accused you of being superstitious.
And I am not. Now, $20. For your new Methodist church. If he's a regular visitor to Wild Rose, we could use another church. New church. You may put me down for $20. Besides, I'm going to need all the help I can get. However unpromising it may look. Here.
You just had a visitor?
Aye, Reverend Pringle.
No. Distinguished gentleman.
Oh, him?
Not from Wild Rose.
No,
He knew me by name.
I'm not surprised.
And Mr. Pringle?
Well, you could say they're in the same business.
Oh, he's a man of the club.
Well, he's concerned with souls, and I don't mean leather ones. Was there a nice, serious reason you dropped by, Mrs. Brown?
Yes, the curling bylaws. You are a moral man. Christian.
Continuing Presbyterian.
And he labored for 6 days, and on the 7th day he rested. And the 8th commandment says to keep his Sabbath holy, doesn't it?
The 6th.
Oh. It does seem strange to me that you do not seem to support the bylaw to prohibit Sunday curling.
I do not consider curling on any day a profane or corrupting pursuit. And really, Mrs. Brown, it's none of your business at all.
Well, it is, as long as my husband curls third on your ring.
Ah, his, yes. Yours, no. For you do not curl third on my ring.
Mrs. Brown, your waste and overflow get plugged up again? Five times she's called me up there. 5 times unplugged her. 5 times I told her all she's got to do is stop little Byron from putting his plasticine down her. She won't get plugged up, or I won't have to all my tools up there and unplug her. That's the trouble with plumbing, Wullie. All the time dealing with the public. Female public.
Aye.
That's where Malibu Charlie Brown has it all over me. Blacksmithing, you don't get many women coming in asking you to do a job for them with them breathing down your neck. You don't see him tangling with the female public the way I have to do. Some. Not 100% of the time. It gets on a person's nerves.
Aye.
Look at me, Wullie. How many years I've been curling second for you?
22.
Yeah, and I should have been skipping a rig for 22 years. Only one reason I didn't. Nerves. Plumber's nerves. Loose as a fringe on an Indian jacket. Now I say you can't have iron nerves and be a plumber. You can't skip unless you got iron nerves.
You're a good second pipe fitter.
We're all good, Wullie. You're skipping the best drink in Wild Rose, Wullie.
Aye.
Malibu Charlie Brown's a nice third. Except for when that back goes out on him. Clark Charlie Brown's a dandy lead. Well, except for when he gets to be thinking he's skipped. They all been curling together for over 20 years. This year we're better than ever. Oh, look at last night. After the 4th end, old Doc Hanley didn't have no more of a chance than a gopher through a 26-inch thrashing machine. Way we're curling, we can take the McDonald Briar. How'd you like to curl in the McDonald Briar, Wullie?
McDonald Briar. Aye. Donald Briar.
I seen him once, 32, Glenmore Club. Never thought I'd see him, but I did. 1932, Glenmore Club. Yeah.
announcing the winner, grand champions of the McDonald Fire Playoffs, champions by 1 rock of the Dominion of Canada and therefore of the world, skip Wullie MacCrimmon and his rank made up of lead clock Charlie Brown, second pipe fitting Charlie Brown, third malleable Charlie Brown, all of Wild Rose, Alberta, Canada. And now, by his Governor Generalship, the Governor General of Canada, the presentation of the McDonald Briar Cup and special souvenirs, for each man a gold spittoon from the Senate engraved with their name. The Governor General.
It gives me very great pleasure in the name of His Majesty to present these gold Senate spittoons to each of you Charlie Browns of the Wild Rose champion rank, and to your skip, Wullie MacCrimmon, 18 karat, not playing, and to have you as my guests in the vice-regal section of the Senate cafeteria for a 3-course banquet in your honor. Roast mallard, wild rice, moose steaks and mushrooms, and smoked Winnipeg gold eye.
That's colder than the tip of a polar bear. Highwood River's froze tighter than bull's ass in fly time. Looks like old King Winter's covered all the Wild Rose and district with a pure and snowy blanket.
Always do keep your eyes peeled, pipe fitting.
There's gonna be some great curling now, Wullie.
Aye.
Wullie,
Aye.
I dreamt about that Dominion finals we seen in 32.
33.
Edmonton,
Calgary.
the Glenmore Club.
Glencoe.
Yeah. Yeah, that last winning rock in the 10th in,
11th.
straight handle,
Aye.
takeout,
Aye.
right down the sheet, true and sweet and straighter than a Baptist spark through brass curtain rod.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Pipe fitting.
Yeah.
I would give anything, utterly anything, to skip the winning rink in the McDonald Briar playoffs. I would give my...
That's a bargain, Wullie MacCrimmon.
Huh?
That is a bargain, Wullie MacCrimmon.
Pipe fitting meat, old Clutie,
Old Clooney?
Beelzebub, old Scratch, old Nick, Satan, the devil, old Clutie.
Oh, him. Pleasure.
All mine.
How's things?
Things are all right.
Oh, I guess the depression ain't got down there yet. No salt cod missions relief trains.
No idle hands.
Oh, well, that's the first good thing I ever heard about it.
In some ways, you might find it pleasant.
Well, I don't think, maybe to visit, but not to.
We girl.
Well, you do.
Just for curiosity's sake, how in hell do you keep your ice?
Artificial. Basaltic sheets, volcanic deposits, highly polished, which give us that fast knockout game.
Yeah. Mainly shirt sleeve Bonspiels then.
That's right.
Well, that sounds all right. The curling part of me.
We do have some drawbacks. Hell is a one-resource economy.
Sin.
Well, yes, there's always that. But sin is an infinitely renewable commodity. I was thinking of non-renewable, natural resources. When you people finally run out of energy, oil, gas, and the way you're wasting it, you're going to look elsewhere for your fuel and heat. Deep thermal energy. Mine. It is all mine. Hell was given to me when I was cast out of heaven. Hell with all its surface and mineral rights is my province. When your time of energy need comes, I will grant no leases, release no territorial rights or powers of decision over my one non-renewable resource. Because when that brimstone runs out, I do not see how, in hell, we can diversify our economy. And when that brimstone runs out, since we could not diversify our economy, I don't know what in hell we can do. We have an expression down below. Let those upper bastards freeze in the dark.
Don't sound too neighborly to me.
In my situation, you just might change your mind.
Take my seat. You two got business to discuss. It was Wullie you came to talk with?
That's right.
Well, I never did get around to finishing Mrs. Henderson's waste and overflow. I just grabbed my tools and skin on over there.
You're early.
Came through on an unscheduled business trip involving an ungraded school teacher and some beer.
That would be Miss Sparrow. Been seen going into the ladies and escorts of the Royal Hotel with the new Royal Bank cashier.
That's right.
Small matter, isn't it?
In itself, yes. Mrs. Sadie Burbage saw her go in. She mentioned it to Mrs. Annie Brown, who in turn got on the phone the greater part of yesterday. Mrs. Brown looks interesting to me.
Uh-huh.
Most interesting.
That's just argy-bargy, isn't it?
In itself, yes. But this woman, with her it's the accretion that counts.
I see.
For the most part, nothing very flashy in the way of sin goes on in Wild Rose. My regular calls are the Bluebird Cafe, penny ante in the little back room. Mame Harris's little brown cottage by the CPR depot is a routine call of mine. Then there's the pool hall.
Aye.
The small novelty line. Petty intolerance, lust for teapot power, self-indulgence, sins of omission, snobbery within the family tyranny. That sort of thing. A quick turnover.
I take it all's not well in hell.
All is well in hell. It's up here. Sometimes I ask myself, just what am I doing? Up on the territory again, century after century, selling sin. After a millennia of calls and eons of detail work, all my lines are well established, but it's the same old inventory. Do you think it's a challenge to sell gluttony today? Avarice? Sloth? Lust? Lust just sells itself. And the quality of sinner. They simply do not make sinners the way they used to. No style. But that's the short-term view. Long-term? Prospects are good. I am optimistic about one. On the continent. Ludicrous little one-ball paper hanger and painter. Of all people, he looks most interesting. Most promising. Also, I see 3 items not even mentioned in the top deadly 7. They are very, very promising as well. Bigotry, fanaticism, hypocrisy. Never sell them short, especially hypocrisy.
Mr. Clutie, I am sure you did not drop by for to confide in me more than I already care to hear. You did mention a bargain.
I did. I just happened to bring a contract with me. Look it over. My standard sole for fair recompense contract stood the test of time because it protects the interests of both parties. No ambiguity because it doesn't oversimplify, nor does it bog down in hair-splitting detail, obscuring the intent of the agreement.
My soul for the McDonald-Breyer playoffs.
That's the deal.
Seems like a fair enough exchange.
It's a good bargain, Wullie, for both sides.
What makes you so fussy about a MacCrimmon soul?
I might as well be frank with you. I need a good third for my rink.
You do?
You've always wanted to curl in the McDonald-Breyer. Since before the last ice age, I've wanted to win the championship Bonspiel. The Celestial Breyer playoffs! I can win it with you curling third for me.
Wait a minute. You caught me unawares. You came back early.
I did.
So I'm not bound by any verbal contract. I would be well within my rights if I refused to sign this written contract.
You would be.
Right then. I'll not sign that.
The deal's off?
I didn't say that. I said I'll not sign that.
Oh.
As it stands.
Oh, with changes?
Well, you might call it a counter-proposition. I have a pretty fair rink of my own, and I can't say I'd care to curl third on a rink that couldn't have beat the one I now skip. I would be willing to curl for you only on the condition your rink is a better one than mine. The one made up of Clock Brown, Malleable Charlie Brown, and Pipe-Fitting Charlie Brown.
And your proposition?
You curl us a match. If we lose, I'll curl third for you when my time comes, at no price.
At no price?
Aye. You need not deliver me the McDonald-Breyer playoffs. But if we win, you must deliver according to the terms of your first contract. I will skip the winning rink in the McDonald-Breyer playoffs, but again at no price.
Now I want to make this thing perfectly clear. If you win, you retain your soul.
I retain my soul.
You sincerely mean that?
I do.
Party of the second part shall retain his soul.
Intact.
Intact.
His MacCrimmon soul intact.
His MacCrimmon soul intact.
Now, the match is to be curled on our own ice, of course.
That's all right.
And it isn't binding on any other member of my rink, you understand?
That's right.
And it must be curled on the Sabbath.
I curl only on the Sabbath. Initial the changes and sign. I already have. Original for you, carbon for me. Now my boots.
I'll get to them immediately. They'll be done by Sabbath next.
Next Sabbath it is. You've exchanged a good bargain for a bad one, Wullie MacCrimmon.
Well, we'll see. In 4 days' time.
You all right, Wullie?
Aye. He just left.
That's nice.
How's Mrs. Henderson's waste and overflow?
Fine. Just fine. She never shed a tear. You finished with, what you was doing?
Aye.
Dripping.
Oh.
Wasn't nothing had to be done. Time and corrosion would have taken care of her. It's a funny thing about plumbing, Wullie. Time and corrosion take care of just about 50% of your leaks. I seen new jobs spraying at every joint, tighten up all by themselves without a wrench. Corrosion. You, well, maybe it's none of my business, but just what business did he have with you? Curling boots?
Well, this was not his first call. He dropped by a couple of weeks ago, wanted the soles mended. Dropped off his boots, custom made. Said he came back a wee bit early too. Said he had some business with Miss Sparrow.
Oh, that all.
Well, no, it's not all. It's not all. He's quite fussy about curling.
I heard you and him talk curling.
We did.
Them curling boots, that's all he come in for, to talk curling.
No. He says he's not a particularly good third on his rink. He's looking for a new third. He likes my game.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't just the boots. He had a proposition to make me. I sort of liked it.
You get into an H of a mess talking the devil up on a proposition, Wullie.
This one involved a curling match. His rink against ours. Pipe fitting. If you're willing, I'll be wanting you for a match this Sabbath evening.
Again? Again?
Against old Clutie and his rink from hell.
Why? Sure. Look, I'll tell Malibu for you. Let clock ride. Him being Catholic? That's the way to do it. I figure he'll see her through once he gets started. I'm kind of curious to see who he's got in his rink, you know? Local folks? You take old man Dolan, went west in 32 just after he diddled old Mrs. Fowler out of that correction line 60 acres. Oh. Oh. I was just headed out your way.
Day, pipe fitting. Wullie. What you Indians plotting against the whites today?
Wullie, me and Wullie was just talking over a little curling match Sunday night.
Sunday night? Ain't no Sunday curling. Reverend Pringle fixed that.
No, it's just a little pickup match. Wullie's fixed her up. We're keeping her quiet. You interested?
Sure. Who's she again?
Old Clutie.
Who?
Old Clutie.
I don't know, Malibu. He's an old friend of yours.
I don't know anybody by that name. There was a fellow, Cooney, Herb Cooney, lived down south of Cavan there somewhere. Hey, Carl. I remember once in a green Bonspiel back in 30...
Flutie. Old Nick. Old Scratch. The devil, Malibu.
Oh. Him.
We have a match with him. I've made a bargain with him. A great deal depends on the outcome.
Oh.
Now, it's up to you whether you cuddle or not. It doesn't affect you, however it turns out. Only me.
And if we lose?
If we lose, the devil has one more MacCrimmon soul. I would like to depend on you for third.
Sure, Willie. Sure.
Thank you, Malibu.
Look, Malibu, about clock.
You tell Clock, you tell Father O'Halloran. I wouldn't say nothing to Clock.
Sunday night.
Okay. Sunday night. Don't you worry none, Willie.
We best get in a couple of practices.
Okay, Willie.
Reverend.
Sorry, I meant to drop this into you sooner, your receipt. The new church. You'll need it when you do your returns. Charitable donation?
Thanks. A nice cup of coffee.
No, all right, black.
I have a matter of some importance that I would want to... Mrs. Brown.
Yes?
Was there something in the line of shoe repair? Harness?
No, I just saw Mr. Pringle, and I have further to report on the corruption of our children in our schools.
Oh, some other time, some other place, I have a private matter to discuss with Mr. Pringle. Mrs. Brown, the back of your head would be a treat.
This is a serious matter.
So is mine. Private. Now then, Reverend, another cup of coffee.
No, thanks. Just what is this private matter?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Serious matter?
Mortally. Clock, I'd like you to drop over to the shop. It's Wullie. Do you know any other MacCrimmons? I'd like you to drop over to the shop. Now, Clock, now. This is more important than your watch repairs. All right. Thank you. There's to be a curling match.
When?
Soon. Maybe too soon. It's a special curling match. Now, I would appreciate it if you didn't say anything to anyone of what I'm about to tell you. You remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation, the day you put me down for $20 for your new Methodist church.
Yes, though it's United.
This match. We're curling against the gentleman for whom I'm fixing a pair of curling boots. We spoke of him.
What? Oh, you're not telling me. You aren't.
I and my rink curl Sunday night against the devil and his rink from hell.
Have you gone out of your mind?
No, I've made a bargain with him.
Look, if a curling match is that important to you, there's no need to cook up a wild excuse.
It is
like...
no wild excuse, Mr. Pringle. I have told you just how it is.
All right. All right.
And I would appreciate it very much if you didn't say anything to anyone of what I've just told you.
Of course not. Don't worry about that.
How is the collection for the new church coming along?
Fine.
I've been thinking it over, and you might put me down for a bit more in it here, too.
Oh, well, that's very generous.
$100 more.
Oh, you can't afford that much
And
money.
while you're down here, you might drop in and see Pipefin.
But I already called on him.
It'll do no harm to call on him again. Tell him you've just seen me and about my contribution. Tell him, considering what's at stake Sunday night, it will do no harm. I think you will find Pipe in a cooperative mood.
$100, $120, that hardly seems, I mean, that's a lot of money for
Had
us.
you attended the old country church I did as a boy, had you had a few of the sermons I did, you would think $120 little enough. So be sure to call on Pipe.
I will.
All right, Wullie. Well, it's so important I had to come right over and meet 2 weeks behind in my watch repairs.
I know it's a strange request, Clock, but it's important. I want it exactly like that, only silver.
Looks like a rivet.
It is a rivet.
A copper rivet.
Aye.
You want me to make you one up just like it, only silver. Silver rivet.
Aye.
Wouldn't be any trick at all to silver plate this one. A lot easier. My silver rivet would cost
Now
me...
look, Clock, you must get it right. Exactly right. I want it like that, only silver. Solid silver. Sterling silver. It must not be plated. A sterling silver rivet.
All right, have it for you beginning of the week.
The beginning of the week is no good to me. It's no good at all. I must have it tomorrow morning.
Now look, I'm a busy man like you are. I got the hard day winning. Folks coming in buying china, cut glass and silver. I'm way behind in my watch repairing.
Believe me, Clark, it's important.
All right, all right,
Tomorrow morning.
all right.
Stand fast, Cragality, and cuddle to beat hell.